So Tesla has just had a record-breaking quarter, delivering over 497,000 vehicles, the best quarter Tesla has ever had. Now, while it is a record-breaking quarter, of course, a lot of things went into that, and it was kind of expected, maybe not for the number to be quite this high. It is still a very high delivery count, but as pretty much everyone knew, the federal tax credit in the United States was ending this quarter, and basically, if you could get an order in, then you could get that tax credit from Tesla. It started out that you had to have the car delivered in this quarter, but the US government actually did change how that worked. And they said as long as there was like a binding contract with an exchange of money, then you could take delivery after this quarter and still take advantage of that benefit. So a lot of these cars did get delivered in Q3 because Tesla was scrambling to make sure everyone got their tax credit. And later in the quarter that changed. On top of that, Tesla also offered the Model Y Performance up for order. And if you put in your deposit for that, just $250, again, you could kind of lock in that $7,500 tax credit, although deliveries of the Performance Model Y are not expected until the end of the year in December. On top of that, Tesla had its most energy storage deployment of any quarter at 12.5 gigawatt hours of energy storage, which is insanely impressive. And it's something I've talked about for a long time. Energy is kind of the number one currency in the world, in my opinion, although I used to say that and I've kind of changed my mind. I'll touch on that in a second. But energy is huge. It runs nations, it produces food, it gets food delivered to people, it lets people do their jobs or get work done or play or whatever they need to do. You need energy to do anything, whether you think of that as energy in an electrical form or energy in a food form for our bodies. Energy is incredibly important. That sounds like a segue to a sponsor, but it's not yet anyway. I did ask Grok to make me a quick graph to kind of show the energy deployment increase over time, and Grok did an awful job. It made a graphic with text and using hashtags. I have no idea why it did this. I kept pushing it to make me a graph and it wouldn't do it, whereas over at chat-gpt, in one question, it gave me the graph I wanted. So this graph is thanks to chat-gpt, and it shows that energy storage deployment is increasing over time. But I have talked a lot in the past about how I think energy will end up being the dominant place that Tesla makes its money and makes the biggest impact on the world. Yes, the cars are incredibly important today. They're still very important. A lot of Tesla bulls will constantly be like, oh, Tesla's not a car company. They're a AI company or a robot company or whatever. And like, I kind of get why they're saying that. But as of now, Tesla's making all their money from cars. So they're a car company that also does other very cool things and will have other cool things coming in the future. But the car aspect is still incredibly important, which is why this record-breaking delivery is such big news. Now, Tesla stock, as of right now, the second that I am saying this, is down about 3%, although pre-market it was up a large amount. I don't find this too surprising because, yeah, this was an amazing quarter. It was great for energy storage and it was great for vehicle deliveries, but now the tax credit is gone and that kind of temporary catalyst we had is no more. So I kind of want to look to the future and be like, well, what's next? What's going to happen next? And I'm not huge on talking about the stock, although I do find it interesting. And I sometimes like to trade options on it, although they're like super expensive now. So not so much anymore. But what does Tesla have coming soon or in the future that can kind of keep this train rolling? We can't just be excited because Tesla got a bunch of deliveries on a quarter when the tax credit was ending and people were just being shoved through the door to try to claim the tax credit as soon as they could before it was over. Because it's done now. There's no more demand there for that, although some of those deliveries, as we know now, will spill into the next quarter. So you know how I was talking about energy being what I think would be the main thing for Tesla. Well, I've changed it. I've kind of changed my mind and changed my mind on the top currency as well. I think energy might be number one, number two, right around there, but I think number one, the only thing that could beat out energy is labor and having people to do work for you. I mean, it's one of the top driving economic forces that we have in pretty much all of human history. And it's the same today. And you see the problems with economies around the world, people worrying about birth rates, not having enough younger people to kind of support the older people that are now starting to retire and everything. And of course, you can probably guess where I'm going with this is robotics, and Optimus is what I am most excited for about pretty much any development in the world right now is Optimus or humanoid robots. You know, it could be from another company as well. But for the longest time, people were thinking the brain was going to be the hard part, like having a computer smart enough where you could just say like, hey, go grab me an orange off of the counter, and the robot not come back with a banana or not like a grab your cat and bring it to you or something. Well, now that seems trivial. I mean, I think pretty much any AI you use, chat-gpt or Grok or Gemini, if you give it a picture of a million things and say like, hey, is there an apple in this picture? It'll be able to pick it out for you. Now we just need to get that in the humanoid form, in a robotic form. And I do think Tesla is one of the best companies set up for this. Not only do they have a great AI at Tesla themselves, of course, they can work closely with xAI, and there's talk of Tesla maybe investing in xAI, although not everybody is excited for that. That's a whole different topic. But either way, the brain part of the equation is mostly solved for. And now we need not only a capable, good humanoid robot body, but we need it to be scaled. And we know Tesla is good at scaling pretty much anything they put their hands on, almost anything. There have been a few things that they didn't end up scaling. But I think robots, they'll definitely be able to do. Now, there was an article out of China from this website called Sina Finance, I think it is, Sina. Of course, it's Google translated and everything. Let me know. I could almost probably make a whole video about this and talk about what's going on here. But they are talking about Tesla's Gen 3 costs for the Gen 3 Optimus robot have dropped below 20,000 when looking at the supply chains that Tesla is using. And they're saying that you can expect the humanoid robot to start scaled production probably next year at some point, of course, probably by the end of 2026. Now, if I take a step back and really think about this, it all seems really far-fetched still. It's kind of hard to believe. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like, can we really like have just humanoid robots that can actually be useful and do things for us? But I think if you give it a long enough time horizon, say like 5 or even 10 years, I do think that it's almost an inevitability. Of course, people need to work hard and actually get these things done and produced and everything. But in terms of like the limit of physics, if you think about it that way, I don't think there's anything stopping us from being able to make humanoid shaped robots that can do tasks for us. Now, I don't want to get like too crazy and philosophical and into the future and everything, but if you just take a moment and think about the implications of having a humanoid robot at mass scale that can do, say, even 70% of the things a human can do, even 50% of the things that a human can do, it just changes everything. It almost breaks the economy in the way that you could have these robots in a factory. Now you don't have employees to pay. And if the robot really only costs Tesla, say $20,000 to build, and they could sell it for $30 or $40 or $50,000 and make all this profit, it's just the math ends up not really working that well. Tesla would need a fraction of the employees they have today. Other companies would need a fraction of the employees they have today. And now these companies, instead of paying, somebody $30,000 a year or $20,000 a year or $50,000 a year, they can spend $30, $40, $50,000 one time and probably some type of subscription fee for maintenance and everything, and have this robot that does all the jobs for them and can work 20 hours a day and doesn't need a bathroom break, and it doesn't need a smoke break, and it doesn't need health insurance. It doesn't need a bathroom. It doesn't need a parking spot or a parking lot at all. Now, we're getting too far, I think, in terms of this discussion, because I do want to keep this to things that we can realistically expect from the company in the next few years. But you can see why I'm pretty excited about Optimus and where I'm going with this. And it doesn't even take into account personal robots to help people in their homes. Think about maybe older people who need help in their homes or don't want to go to a nursing home or something. They can have this robot helping them there. It's far future stuff, but I don't think it's impossible, which is kind of the crazy part about it. Now, reeling it back a little bit, we're going to get more and more realistic and things that I think will have more and more of an impact on Tesla in a shorter and more significant time frame in this video. So next up, of course, we have Full Self-Driving version 14, which should be coming out this week. According to Elon, we can add the 2-week multiplier, we can add the 3-month multiplier, or we can add the, it's been 10 years and we still don't have autonomy multiplier. We don't know for sure. But the fact is, within the next week or a couple of weeks, we should have Full Self-Driving version 14 start to roll out to the public. And of course, Tesla keeps bringing updates and features to our vehicles, but there are a few things missing, and that's where today's sponsor, Sentry Pro, comes in. Sentry Pro gives real-time notifications the moment Sentry Mode activates. You can choose to enable Sentry Pro so that Sentry Mode alerts trigger as soon as anything sets off Sentry Mode, not just serious events. Sentry Mode is built by official Tesla partners using the Real Tesla API, which means your data stays private and secure. Sentry Pro works on Tesla models new and old, and you do not need premium connectivity to use Sentry Pro. Sentry Pro is free to try using the link down below, so definitely give it a try. And I have heard from you guys, people are enjoying Sentry Pro. You can set up the app in just a few minutes, and you can set different notification sounds for different types of events. Sentry Pro helps you know what's always going on around your Tesla. And right now, Sentry Pro is offering 20% off their one-time payment for a lifetime subscription. So definitely check it out in the link down below. Thank you to Sentry Pro for sponsoring this video. video. We should have full self-driving version 14 start to roll out to the public, probably going to early access people first. Of course, we don't know for sure, but is this going to have a huge impact on the company? I don't think so, at least in the short term, unless it really is a game changer. The big things we'll need is if full self-driving version 14 severely reduces the nag, meaning that you can kind of pay less attention. I'm not saying that that's guaranteed or that you can do that today, but if it's advised by the company and regulatory and you know, it's not illegal or anything, if you can pay less attention while this software is running, I think that would be huge. And the number one thing we would need to see to impact the company specifically would be an uptick in the take rate of full self-driving. Because as of today, as far as we know, it's still really low. It's somewhere around the 10% of people buying a Tesla are actually buying or paying for full self-driving, which is a very small amount. And if you could get, say, 30 to 40% of people buying a Tesla to also take full self-driving, I don't think that's that hard of a goal. That is a significant bump in the average sales price of the car, a huge bump in the margin that you're getting from each vehicle. So I think Tesla really wants to nail that. So on top of full self-driving version 14 being impressive, which I believe it will be because version 13 is already good, you're going to need something extra special in there to get normal people who are not nerds watching YouTube videos to want to adopt this technology. There needs to be something about it where people see it and they go, wow, I really want that. I want this thing. I'm going to at least, you know, do the subscription for a month and try it out. And now that I've tried it out, wow, I don't think I could live without this. I really want to keep subscribing, or I'm just going to, you know, pay the money and keep this for the life of my vehicle. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know exactly how Tesla is going to get that point across and get people to really want to use this software. I think a big part of it might need to be advertising. Tesla might need to show people like, hey, look how impressive this is. Look what it can do. Look how it can reduce your stress. Look how it can help you drive. Look how it can make you and your family safer, things like that. But if they can up that take rate, I think that's going to be very important. And we'll see that here with FSD version 14. And of course, if 14 has any type of unsupervised, saying even level 3, where you can, you know, in very certain circumstances on the highway, you can read a book or look at your phone or something, that I think would be a huge game changer. Because if you go back to the deliveries, Tesla delivered almost 500,000 vehicles last quarter in 3 months. That's 500,000 more vehicles on the road that can use this software. So think if, you know, even 20% of those vehicles are going to pay that additional money to use the software and enjoy it and be safer. And then once it starts to take off, you have people telling their friends and telling other people, and then it can kind of build up on itself. So I think FSD version 14 could be very important, but there needs to be some type of significant change, significant update, or significant like advertising or educational push to really get this out to more people. So going back to vehicle deliveries, how can Tesla keep it up? How can they keep delivering mass amounts of vehicles? The $7,500 tax credit is gone, and that makes their vehicles more expensive in general. Now there's a few things. Number one, the standard Model Y, the cheaper Model Y, the stripped down version that we've talked about before is coming. I would expect this to come closer to the end of the year, but it really could come at any point, any day now. And this should be able to boost Tesla's demand and delivery statistics, because this vehicle is going to have a lot of that Tesla magic that you love. It's going to have supercharging. It's going to be super quiet and comfortable. It will have autopilot, the full self-driving option, but it's a bit stripped down, and it should bring a significant reduction to the base price of a Tesla. Recently, Tesla Newswire over on X posted that they found some info on Tesla's website on the back end that gave some information about the new Model Y. Now, a lot of this we've seen before, and I did make a full video about that if you want to go watch that video, which even shows some pictures and everything. But some of the things that were confirmed before that we're seeing here is the front bumper camera will be in place. There's no front light bar. There's no glass roof. There are new 18-inch wheels on the Model Y, which the base right now is 19 inches, the smallest you can get. There will be a more basic interior, manually adjustable steering wheel, no second row touchscreen, and a bunch of other things that have been changed to make the Model Y less expensive. Now, they did also find a starting price of $39,990, but I would hope this is a placeholder or not true, because that would be slightly too expensive. I really think Tesla needs to get this down to the $35,000 level to really attract people. But we saw what Tesla did with the rear-wheel drive Cybertruck, and that was no good. It barely dropped the price at all while stripping a ton of features that made the Cybertruck a Cybertruck, and now that Cybertruck is gone. Tesla doesn't even offer it anymore, which is wild that it was here for such a short amount of time. I guess Tesla was getting just about no sales with it, and they said forget it, and they ended up scrapping that. On top of these posts on the website, the new standard Model Y has been spotted driving all around California, and And usually when you see the vehicles being driven around quite that openly, it's not going to be long until Tesla reveals it. So I am very confident by the end of the year, we will see this new cheaper Model Y unveiled and put onto Tesla's website, but it could be even sooner than that. Let me know what you think down below on what Tesla is going to be bringing within the next few months or even few years to keep up this great news. But hey, good job Tesla on a record quarter, and I look forward to seeing you guys out there with your FSD version 14 driving around in your new Teslas.